Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Grandmastaj and Goldlewis at Dickinson. He has been out, he's been here for about like 3 or so days or something like that. I've been playing him a lot. I've been playing him a whole lot. As you can see, 118 wins, not even victories, wins. I suspect it's somewhere close to 200. Played basically almost every matchup so far, and yeah, I've got some opinions on him. I got a couple of opinions, you know, a couple of think pieces. So let's jump into trading mode and let me explain what I think about this character. But of course, before we get into all that, I gotta let y'all know I stream at twitch.tv/grandmastaj. Also, if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's free. It truly helps out your boy. And yeah, go out and get a sandwich after you're done, okay? You know. So here we are with the man with the American plan today. So I think the way I want to do this is I'm going to go over his strengths, what makes him really strong, go over some of his weaknesses, and then go over how I think he should be played or how I think he will develop over time, and then wrap it all up nice and neatly with how I think his matchups are going to turn out. So starting off with his strengths, look, this coffin is not for show. He does a lot of damage. I'm talking a whole lot of damage. Great knockdown. Like he hits like a gosh darn tank, okay? And that's kind of obvious, right? That's what we expected, okay? Another thing that you may or may not know is that his chip damage game is actually so good. Hang on a second. Look at how much chip these things do. That is absurd. And what's even worse is that you can combo some of them into each other. Like, homie took 10%. And I didn't even hit him. Like, what? And while we're on the topic of his Behemoth Typhoon, this whole like multi-hitting thing, whatchamacallit, like multi-directional nonsense joint, really gives him a lot of great mix-ups. As you can see, Kai is mashing, right? You can just shut that up completely, and like on counter hit, a lot of these moves really will just destroy you. Like, really actually destroy you. Oh my gosh. Now the inputs are hard and we'll get to that later, but his pressure game is really strong. Another strength of his, kind of a surprise, but he actually has some great mix-ups. I'm talking after knockdown, you can set down mines and go for a high-low, or even like, this is something that I've been working on. He actually has a fuzzy setup. It's like, why does he have a fuzzy? He's so huge. A couple smaller, less notable things is that he has a great reversal super. I will say the range is pretty short, but it does so much damage. And if the opponent's like above you, like for example, even if they're like over here, right? It hits like a great distance high. He's also a chunky boy. I think we don't have the numbers yet, but he has a lot of health. You know, he's got a lot of health, and honestly, that's great for this character. You gotta use your health as a resource because a couple of his weaknesses we'll get into. His neutral is also surprisingly not terrible, especially with this mine. This mine is actually really great for him to just kind of follow behind and just sort of like oppress himself in this space. One of the great things about the mine is that it actually eats projectiles. Hold on a second, if I can show this. It actually eats projectiles, and like the higher your security level, the more multi-hits it can go through, like multi-hitting projectiles. It's super great, and it really helps out his neutral a lot. One of the last things I'll talk about is his Gatling gun. His Gatling gun is pretty nice. It's not super duper strong. It definitely cranks up the number, the hit marker like way too freaking high, and it's super distracting, but it's great to like kind of counter poke if you're like full screening your opponents. Like, say for example Kai, right? Kai players love to backdash and do this nonsense a lot, right? If you know they're gonna go for that, you can just say, nah bruh, I don't want you to do that. Look, you might be a nice Frenchman with some electricity, but I'm an American with some bullets. And that's it for his strengths, at least so far. Okay, now let me go over the things that are not super great with him. First things first, he has some whack buttons. His buttons got not great range. I mean, 5/ is pretty decent, right? But like come on, it doesn't hit round start. His 2S is like so slow. His 6P, while it hits really high up in the air, it does not hit like anywhere close. Like, it has such short range. It's really difficult to use this move to like counter poke buttons because the range is just so bad. It's great like vertically. If you guys know Dragon Ball Janemba, like Janemba's 2H, it's very similar to that. It's super not great. And his 5H, gosh, don't even get me started on this 5H. Who thought this was a good idea, man? His 5H and his 2H, they're just pathetic. They're honestly just pathetic. Like, this move is not even great because, like, look at that. What? Why? You cannot do like close slash far slash 5H, like, or close slash far slash 2H. It's just so sad, man. Like, the range of his buttons are so trash. He honestly doesn't have great anti-airs. I mean, this is an okay anti-air, but it's really, really difficult to use. And his jabs, bruh, what's up with this jab? What's up with this 2P? The range is atrocious. Actually atrocious. Like, what? I cannot understand, bruh. I cannot understand. And on hit, they do not, like, they combo into each other as like a link, but you cannot mash it, so his mash away pressure is not great either. Like come on. Another problem with him is that his execution. I mean, come on, guys. Like, we saw the character showcase. You already knew I was going to talk about the execution. The execution's so weird. It's so weird. It's hard to get half of his moves without jumping. Like, you're really going to have to lab this stuff out, right? Like, in order to get the standing ones, or in order to get the top ones, like, you have to, like for me, for example, I have to whiff jab, right? Don't even get me started on the jump ones, because doing the jump normals effectively is really, really hard. Like, especially for some reason, if you use stick, right? If you use arcade stick, I use arcade stick. These inputs are not forgiving. They're not fun. I find them easier on pad because, look, at least with pad you have natural indicators. Focus. Like, I could just go here, travel up here. Like, I can feel that, right? I can feel that. But on arcade stick, I cannot. I don't have an octagonal gate, which, if you guys know what it is, you know what it is. Like, I don't have any notches here or at the top, right? It's just so annoying, so weird. And what especially sucks is that a lot of his good moves, for example, this one, is locked behind this input that you cannot do while just here. Like, for example, I'd love to just be in neutral and just run up and throw it out. But as you can see, I just get this jump nonsense, man. Like, it's so annoying. Like, there are some tricks to kind of get it standing. Like, Jam Crofts, I know, goes over a couple tips to get him standing, but it's just so terrible. Also, he is so slow. His run speed, abysmal. He does not have a double jump. Why doesn't he have a double jump, Arxis? Why? His air dash does not go anywhere. Like, help me, please help me to get in. A smidgen of neutral, please. And his jump-ins are just not great. I know people are saying, like, oh, Jump D is so great. Jump D is so good. Yeah, Jump D is kind of okay, man. But, like, honestly, that's really all he's got. That's really all he has. And it's just like, come on, man. This move is not that great to use, man. Like, this one is not great to use, like, either. It's just, all are, like, really situational. Plus, like, jump H, if you're too low to the ground, like, you can't, like, sometimes it just goes away. So you have to do it at the apex of your jump, which is, like, it's so strange. So those are my initial thoughts on his strengths and weaknesses. Now, here's how I feel like he should be played. In neutral, like, you see that security level? It goes up to 2 really fast. So I feel like just being able to do level 2 mine, like, look at the difference between level 1 and mine and level 2 mine. That goes literally nowhere, and this goes almost to the other side of the screen. So you can basically get all of this pressure, or get all of this space just falling behind your mine. And level 3, of course, if you got level 3, I would suggest not using it on mine unless you don't have the meter for satellite laser. Satellite laser is also really great as a just, I don't care about neutral thing. So it's kind of nice that they thought about ways of him being able to get in, because I'll be real with you, if he didn't have that mine, he wouldn't be able to get in. Now, in terms of his knockdown game, like, once he knocks you down, then he's able to kind of get started, because once he's in, and he's really in. Like, his overheads are plus, his lows are plus, his, like, this move's plus. The only moves that are not plus is that one and this one. Like, he is a plus frame demon. He will just curb stomp you into the corner. Like, once he gets you in the corner, you're just gonna be curb stomped until you die. Like, and the damage that he does is atrocious, buddy. It's just absurd. So they really designed him around just like being slow and clunky, but having some tools to get in, for example, like with mine and with Gatling gun, to kind of like have a presence in neutral. Like, he has a presence in neutral, but once he gets in, then he is absolutely absurdly, like, really, really strong. Because, like, his overheads he can't even mash through. His lows are absurdly plus. Did you know one of them's plus 16? I'll get into all of his Behemoth Typhoons in a different video. But yeah, once he's in, like, it is curtains. So now let's talk about matchups and my matchup impressions just playing the character. Now, I've fought against, I believe, every character in the game so far with him. I think the only characters I have not played yet is Leo and Potemkin. I have fought against basically everybody else, so I have a good understanding as to who he would do well and not do well against. Of course, listen, this is day like 3. Don't take my word for it. The meta will develop over time, and I like to reapproach this and see how accurate I was. But for now, let's just go into his strong matchups. I think Soul, it will definitely be a pretty decent matchup. Like, Soul, of course, like, if a character has to approach Goldlewis, then Goldlewis is going to do fine. Kai as well. I think this matchup's actually pretty good. I played this matchup quite a lot, actually. And while Kai's fireballs are present, I suppose, Goldlewis doesn't care about them, right? If he gets mine out, then he basically negates all of Kai's zoning altogether. Yeah, Kai is like forced to play this grounded game with him, and like Behemoth Typhoon just Anji, poor Anji. Poor Anji. Anji has to try too hard against everybody. And this is no different, okay? This is no different. Anji's got stubby normals, which is great because his normals are just as stubby as Goldlewis, which means he has to be in Goldlewis range, and Goldlewis does way more damage than Anji and has way better pressure than Anji, so it's a wrap. Leo, I have not played this matchup yet, but I think it won't be too bad. Now, of course, time will tell. Maybe it's going to be atrocious. Maybe it's going to be horrible. Maybe he can't deal with his fireballs properly. But I think it really is not going to be that bad, especially with mine. I think mine is able to negate Leo's heavy fireball, at least if you have level 3 mine, so that's actually pretty good. Potemkin, I'll be honest, I think this matchup will be just like rock'em sock'em robots. They're both just going to be trying to like jump in at each other and swing in and all that. Once Goldlewis has Potemkin locked down, Potemkin has no reversal options, but at the same time, if Potemkin gets Goldlewis knocked down, he has no reversal options. So it's kind of just going to be two grown men swinging at each other. And Eno, I fought an Eno, and I kind of got the impression that Goldlewis doesn't do too bad against her. Why? Because like he could just swing his behemoth like coffin around. Like, he could just swing it around on her, and she has to really like work around that. Now, I think she'll be able to pretty well, but again, mine negates the note, which is really strong for Goldlewis, and time will tell how it develops, but this is just my initial impressions. Now let me go over the bad matchups, starting with Giovanna. Yes, her boss gets demolished by her. She just plays in and out of his range. He literally cannot whiff anything. He literally cannot approach her properly. It is so tough. It is so terrible. Giovanna proving yet again why she is such a menace to this game. Her neutral game is so strong, like he cannot get away from her. Faust, usual suspect number 1, I should call him. He plays a very zoning type game. I mean, the only thing that keeps Goldlewis in this game is the fact that Faust sucks. But I fought against the Faust, and yeah, it feels bad. It feels just as bad as you think it would. It's winnable. It's very winnable, but that's mostly because Faust kind of sucks. But like, yeah, Ram is actually kind of a pseudo zoner. In the way she plays a very campy style. At least if you're playing a good Ram, you're playing kind of campy, and because that semi-campy play style, it's very difficult for Goldlewis to get in on her. He can 6p her swords, true, but like it's not fun to play. It's just not fun to play, really. And when she locks him down, he's too fat, he's too slow, he just has to hold that in the corner, which ain't great. Just really not great for the boy. Nago, in the same way that Nago beats Potemkin, I think he smokes Goldlewis. Smokes. Goldlewis cannot play in Nago's range. He just can't, because Nago does mad damage. Okay, his 2H. Goldlewis, you know, he's a rounded feller. He's a rounded feller. And Potemkin, same thing. He's a rounded feller. That's the reason why, like, Nago versus Potemkin is like a 6-4 matchup. And I think it's the same thing. I think Nago versus Goldlewis just is not a good matchup at all whatsoever. Kind of garbage. Zato, usual suspect number 2. Goldlewis has no defensive options, so Zato can just get in for free. Now, I fought this matchup, and I would like to put it more towards the even side of things again, mostly because, like, I feel like Zato, while, yeah, once he gets Goldlewis blocking, GG's, he cannot out damage him, and Zato's got low health, and Goldlewis can kind of swing and keep Zato out the way he wants him to. So Goldlewis kind of has to zone in this matchup, which I find funny. May's a bully. She bullies him. What can I say? She just bullies him. It's kind of like Geo, but with dolphins. Chip Zanu, usual suspect number 3. You know what it is. You know how it do. He's too fast. The Godspeed Ninja just dances around this poor man. He should have taken more cardio lessons. Should have eased up on those cheeseburgers. And of course, drum roll please for the worst matchup in probably the game, honestly. Axel versus Goldlewis. I truly believe, I've believed before this point, there was no such thing as a 7-3 matchup. If you don't know what that means in a first to 10, this character will win X amount of games. Axel is truly a 7-3 matchup for Goldlewis. Truly. It is truly a 7-3 matchup for Goldlewis. Because the thing is, you might compare it to Axel versus Nago, because they have very similar builds, or Axel versus Potemkin. But these characters have an answer to Axel's stuff. Potemkin has armor, Nago has a giant freaking sword, right? Goldlewis doesn't have any of those, okay? A big man with stubby normals does not mix well, okay? Zoners love big men with stubby normals, so Axel can literally just sit and press 5p, and Goldlewis cannot do one gosh darn thing about it. Not one gosh darn thing about it. He can try. He can try to do some cheeky stuff. Maybe get a trade, maybe try to get in off a trade, but that's a tough one. That really is a tough one. It's really, really terrible. It's just terrible. And so that's my initial impressions on the man. I think his potential is really high. I think he's a guy who has a lot of potential for growth. I don't think he's like bottom 3 or bottom 2. He might be in terms of like, yeah, he might be 3rd place or he might be 3rd last, but he's still really strong, you know? Like, I feel like this character can win. I feel like this character, if you run a sub to tackle Axel, because I'll be honest, you need a sub for Axel. Like, but aside from that, I feel like Goldlewis really has the potential to win. You know, once people's execution get better, I've been playing him and my execution's already been getting better. I've been able to consistently get out things like his overhead out of block stun or something like that. Obviously not now because like I lied to you, but I feel like once Goldlewis man get his execution up, get their execution up, he'll be kind of a menace, right? And once his matchups are fleshed out, I feel like his tools are enough to win. Okay, you will need a sub for Axel. You really are gonna need a sub for Axel, but I feel like other than that, you can win. That's it. That's all I got to say. Guys, if you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. You know I stream at twitch.tv/Grandmastaj. Go check me out there. And of course, take care. Have a good one. Peace. Enjoy the character. He's a lot of fun. He's really a lot of fun, okay? Just get out there and play him, okay? Don't take my word for it. Go out and play him because he's a lot of fun. Now go. Get out of here. Shoot. Peace. Go. Bye.